Hi, it's Friday. It's 3 o'clock. I was about to say, welcome to Crackerjack. For anyone who's old
I
enough,
knew where that was going.
I know. So it's 3 o'clock. It's Together Unlocked, brought to you as always by Together 2012. We're a disabled arts organisation based in the main 2012 host borough of Newham. I'm Jew Gosling, also known as the artist Jew90. I'm artistic director, and with me today in my East London studio, as she has been for the last 6 months and counting, is our chair, the artist and documenter Julie Newman. We'll go over to the other end of our long wheeled sofa in a minute to introduce our other hosts in the West Midlands. It's Friday, so it's dressing up to go out to stay in day. So I'm going to come around each of you for some audio description for anybody who's visually impaired or just listening to the show. And can you tell us at the same time what you're dressed up to go out to stay in to do?
So you're coming up here first?
Yes, do start, Robin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. It is in fact 3 o'clock. And for those of you who have no idea what Crackerjack was, it was a lovely children's program. And when they used to give pencils out, I mean, the prizes that they give today just bear no consequence to when we were kids. Anyway, so yeah, I'm up here in Sutton Coldfield. As I say, I'm Robin Surgener. I am business director of Together 2012 and an artist known as Angry Fish in my own right. Today, in terms of being dressed up to go out, my normally beautifully kempt and silvery white hair is hidden under a peaked green camouflagey type hat, which does in fact say Tenerife on the side. Don't let that fool you. I'm not going anywhere hot. I am also wearing my glasses, which are black arm, no rimmed glasses. And I am freshly unshaven and wearing a lovely, big, cuddly brown hooded sweatshirt because at dusk and maybe later than that this evening, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to do some bat watching. They're fascinating to see. They fly so quickly. Um, you ask why a hat? Well, if the moon is out, it just helps keeping the glare out of your eyes, and you can kind of focus a bit better on where you're looking. But they are amazing creatures. And when I was a youngster and I used to go fishing till late at night, actually much of the fascination, because we were always useless at fishing, was watching the bats coming in and swooping around, and you know, and amazingly not hitting anything in the dark.
Wow, thank you for that. So, Josh Surgener has just reappeared in the stream. Josh, what?
Hello. Yes, so I am Josh Surgener. I'm also one of the hosts of Together Unlocked, and I am a PhD student. And I'm also extending the virtual sofa a few extra meters today to follow the guidelines. So I've got swept over blonde hair, and today I'm wearing a blue t-shirt that on the right hand side has a kind of swirly different kind of logo that's a sport and a ball and a wave or something. It says Varsity, and then the other side is a little shield that says Team Worcester. And this is one of the many pieces of sports stash that I acquired during my time at university. This is one of the Varsity kind of player shirts. Because it's kind of the week of university, which in normal times is kind of go and meet all your flatmates and course mates and kind of go to freshers fairs and things like that. And for me, sports fair was always a big one where they kind of have all of the different teams and clubs in a big room, and you go and kind of meet them and then decide if you want to sign up, and sign up to loads and then only turn up to about one probably. But it's a really great thing to do. Obviously, this year it's slightly different, so a lot of them are running virtually, so that you can still go and kind of meet people. So I am wrecking one of my Varsity t-shirts to virtually go to a sports fair to sign up for some sports clubs.
Thank you, Julie.
think, with a hairstyle today which can only be described as through a bush backwards. Sort of like I have a new brush, which has been very kindly supplied by our artistic director, Drew Gosling. I have putty in my hair, which I find slightly alarming, but it's given it a bouffant sort of lift to it. My hair itself is gold and silver. And as I say, it's a bit sort of rampant at the moment because it's growing out. I have dark rimmed glasses. I have on my wrist a sort of pewter bracelet with two wolf heads called a Torc, Torc. On the other hand, I have a little cheapo fitness watch, and I'm wearing a blue short sleeved shirt with green leaves and melons and watermelons and flamingos, brightly coloured and sort of, a bit above pineapple as well, all different colours and fairly bright, because I'm going to Tobago. And when I get to Tobago, I'm going to go to Store Bay and I'm going to go snorkeling because I want to see the fishes in the deep blue sea.
And I believe you're going to tell us a bit later on a bit more about your Coral City camera, which we've talked about several times before, and how you can go virtual snorkeling without leaving the house. Just to say, up in the West Midlands, I have virtually muted you for a minute, Josh. I think you need to put headphones on. This is the first time we've experimented with hosting like this, and we'll come on to discuss that in a minute. So I'm Drew Gosling, also known as the artist G90. We have a variety of haircuts on this show, don't we? We
Yeah,
have
we
the kind of
do.
not being cut, which is Josh and Julie. We have the did sneak out for one proper haircut, which is Robin. And then we have the dog clippers, which is me.
I was going to say that Julie, when you were struggling to describe your hair, I've come up with purposefully dishevelled.
Oh, how generous. That's so kind. Thank you.
Which we
Yes.
believe is one Robin used to use quite
It's
a
true.
lot before he managed to get his hair cut. And I really should get on and describe myself, but before I do, the Surgeoners have established that they are the most competitive family in the world. But I have to say, I never knew you got pencils as prizes from Crackerjack, so I can only assume that
That
Robin
they started winning.
competed.
No, I just remember them. They
Yeah.
always say about Crackerjack pencils.
Yeah, you remember that, even if it was a pencil, and that's apparently the winning spirit. So I have a moth-eaten Corona crop, very much like my dog, black plastic glasses, black wrist braces, silver-coloured jewellery, including a pewter bangle and silver star stud earrings. And I have a grey t shirt with a New York boardwalk sign that says, "Don't walk, dance." And the reason I'm wearing that is to go to a dance workshop. Really, for more than one reason. As a wheelchair user, I always like this kind of t shirt in dancing. So I've worn it to quite a number of dance workshops over the years, including the ones we run as Together 2012. We deliver a disabled led arts program throughout the year of performances, exhibitions, screenings, and all sorts of other things that are aimed at absolutely everybody. And then we have our club's outreach program, which usually operates every weekday morning. And those are free creative workshops for disabled people and whoever they want to bring with them. And when we can, we combine this so that during, for example, our Disability History Month festival in November, December, and our Summer Together program, if we bring people in for performances, they also run workshops. One of the companies that we've worked with right since 2012 and have been wonderful supporters of Together 2012 is Sign Dance Collective International. And Sign Dance Collective International have done a whole range of performances, including most recently performing with us in the Olympic Park at the Liberty Festival and running a whole week of workshops for local disabled people so they could join in the show. We're well, we will be welcoming Sign Dance Collective back in November to launch this year's festival. But we had some very, very sad news, which was that one of the two performers for that piece, Lionel Macaulay, has been killed in New York, and indeed I'm attending the funeral virtually tomorrow. I wondered if we could just have a minute for Lionel. I'm just going to put his picture onto the screen, if you bear with me. And very, very sadly, at the age of just 28, Lionel was shot and killed. We've talked quite a bit over the summer about Black Lives Matter. We're profiling artists of colour throughout Black History Month, which starts next week. We had expected to have Lionel with us, so we will be thinking of him, and our hearts go out to his family, but also to Sign Dance Company. I spoke to the company this morning. They're gathered in Croatia, so at least they're together. But we're just more sad than we can begin to say. But moving on, because we have to. Josh, do you want to tell us a bit more about your experiences now you are in isolation temporarily for COVID-19? And that's despite having a negative test, isn't it? So I wondered if you could explain why that is and how the system works.
He's just messaged me to say he can only see me.
Oh, that's very interesting, or not. Could you message him back and ask him to try coming back in to the stream again? And in the meantime, we will move on to you, Robin, who has just downloaded the NHS COVID-19 app. Really, since the middle of August, we have had a regular feature called Appdate on this show. And Appdate has been looking at the piloting of the COVID-19 app trial in Newham. That went live on Thursday. So our Appdate feature is now just going to be weekly on a Monday, also very much, as always, talking about arts apps. But yeah, how are you finding it, Robin? You've been hearing about this app for a whole month.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I went to, I thought, crikey, yes, I really should do this. So I have an iPhone, so I went to the App Store, and it was literally, there's a banner across the bottom of the App Store there were 3 different ones, one for Scotland, possibly, I don't know what the third one was, but then one was the NHS COVID app. So whether they're running one slightly differently in Scotland, I'm not sure. But anyway, so I thought, click on it. I mean, and it's absolutely simple. I mean, I think the only, it asked me if I was over 16. It asked me for my postcode, and kind of then uploaded it, and Wham Bam told me this is what I need to do. Then sort of the open page on it then gave me, I think, 5 options. I wonder if it's still open. Oh yeah, hold on. Gave me 5 options, which was a venue check-in, an individual symptom check, and a link to advice pages, a link about the app, and then an enter test result page, obviously if you've had one, and then a button for contact tracing to switch on, which I've done. And I think I obviously I'm not going to check any of those buttons at the moment because I don't need to, and I don't want it kind of getting false information, if you like, thinking that I'm just, I'm sure there'll be people trying who do go in and go, oh, I'll see what happens if I press this.
Yeah,
don't do that unless you need to. Okay, that is really, really important. But I this is probably about the simplest app I think I've ever downloaded.
Well, we are delighted to hear it. We've been supporting the app since the beginning of the pilot. We know that they've been listening to us, and indeed, there will be future improvements. So you're in the greater West Midlands area of Birmingham that's been subject to special measures. What does it say on your risk level?
It's telling me now. Where was it? Where?
It should be almost the first thing that maybe the first screen, but of course we had the pilot version. So what I haven't done is deinstalled it and reinstalled it because the pilot version still works.
Yes. All right. Well, I did accidentally press the wrong button and it's taken me to the .gov page. That's because I've got fat fingers.
Yeah, this should actually be right on the app. But I tell you what, as Josh is waiting patiently in the stream and you can't hear him unless I bring him back in, let's see if he can see and hear us if we bring him back in again.
Oh, sorry. And while he's just rejoining us, it says hi. There you go. It does literally. If you can see that on the front of the page, I'd scrolled down, but at the very first top says hi.
Yeah, and I think that's really helpful. Ours says medium because obviously at the moment we are not subject to a local lockdown. However, I know that Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, has been pushing for far tighter regulations in London. East London has particularly bad rates, unsurprisingly. So we would always say our usual: stay home, stay creative equals stay well. Josh, we never got to hear the rest of your story about isolating, but just to sum it up, as I understand it, if you get notified either by Test and Trace or the venue or the app that you've been in contact with somebody, at the moment, the advice is even if you get a negative test, you should still follow the isolation rules. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. So I was notified by my employer that somebody in the venue at the same time that that I was there had a positive test. So I now had done a test which came back negative, but it says to still isolate for the 14 days, kind of since you were last in contact with that person. So I am doing so.
I mean, it's very sensible, isn't it? Because as I understand it, and I was trying to do some reading myself, it's like any kind of illness. At the point you have the test, you may not have enough of the virus in that bit of your body for it to be detected. I mean, you're a qualified nurse, Julie, is that correct? And of course, there's also the faint chance that the test is not going to be correct either. There's false negatives and false positives. So I think at the moment, I'm sure things will change, but at the moment, I think it's all very sensible. So, so this is what we want to know next. Have you got Robin rolling around delivering everything you need to the door of your room? And how
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I have a little table set up outside of the door that kind of food and snacks gets kind of delivered to, and I can kind of open it and like some sort of gremlin scurry away back into my cave with my plate of food. And
Well, we really appreciate you doing all this research and reporting back on our behalf. I believe if you download the app, there is a way of being able to set it to remind you how many days to isolate. I don't know at the moment if that's just through Test and Trace.
No, it's on my screen. So there's a yeah, there was a bit that said earlier when it was giving you the listing what was there. So I'm assuming if you click the enter test result bit, it would then you'd put your when you had it and stuff, and it would give you the.
Well, let's talk about all of that then. I think on Monday in the full app day, and you can tell us how you find that kind of countdown thing and whether it's at all useful. We will be continuing to feed back to the NHS app team. It's like any app. Until millions of people have used it, it isn't going to be as good as it could be because it's only when you move into that sort of phase of numbers. So what we really encourage you to do, if you can afford an up-to-date smartphone, get your operating system up to date, download the app, and we will talk more about it on Monday. I've been fishing around. My screen is doing strange things, not for the first time. We do actually have a picture from Julie of her cat dressing up to go out to stay in. So if I come across that, I think I will share it. But Julie, do you have any?
Because you've got Julia up on your two.
Yes, darling, but that. Here it is. I was going to say called Be Live. So we're broadcasting through an open broadcasting system platform. We're slightly limited by what it can do. I'm just going to put this on solo for a minute, Julie, if you'd like to tell us what he's dressing up to stay out to go in to do.
Well, he was helping me cook, and I had a most beautiful Savoy cabbage, which I love. And he was just so interested in the whole thing that I thought, okay, I'll show you then. Why don't you wear it on your head? And he said, okay, then I'll put this cabbage leaf on my head. And here I am. I don't care. I think I look lovely. And that's exactly what he did. That's Christopher.
And in the slightly anarchic environment that is home broadcasting, we often have random animals wandering into the shot. On our highlights and links page, which you can find on our website underneath the Together TV Unlocked page. Oh, Robin's disappeared now, so let's just bring Josh down there. So we have a highlights and links page, and just below that we have a page about our animal hosts. So if you're interested in any of the cats and dogs that wander on and off the screen, and indeed occasionally report for us in terms of Julie and Stera's assistance dogs, have a look at that page, Together Animal Hosts. And now I'm going to pop a video into the stream that starts with another cat and includes a poem about a cat. This next film is from our virtual writer in residence, Penny Pepper. Penny is sent me this earlier today from Hastings, and it's a bit self-explanatory.
Hello from Hastings, and hello from me, Penny Pepper, and hello from Pixie, who I wanted you to see. It's very sleepy today, but she's happy, and I'm very pleased to be back with Together TV for this quick film about next week is National Poetry Day, the 1st of October, and I really hope you're all going to take part, look out for events. There is so much happening. I'm going to read you a work in progress. WIP, hashtag that, it's everywhere. First of all, the work in progress, which is about Pixie. It's very hard to write about cats sometimes, but here we go. She calms me with her easy way of moving and pressing of her face. She calms me in her gentle way of talking and nudging of her head. She calms me with her softest way of stroking and skimming of her tail. She calms me with her green eyes of knowing and gazing in my face. She knows me. With moments spent in loving, do not deny her heart. We calm us. Thank you. So I am going to be doing a poetry-thon, reading this beast, Come Home Alive. So I hope you'll look out for me. It'll be on Twitter at PenPep and Instagram at Miss Penny Pepper and all over the show. Probably on my Facebook page, Penny Pepper Writer. Please join in, share your own poems, and there's 53 poems to do. I'll be reading them all next Wednesday, 1st of October. Take care everyone, and lots of love from Hastings. Bye. Bye.
Can I just say something? I think that was beautiful, but I have to say, when I think back to the experience I had of your big black cat jumping up on top of me when I wasn't expecting him, I was not calm.
No, I think that was very true. You absolutely weren't. Fortunately, Penny was already a virtual writer in residence with us before our big digital year started unexpectedly in March. So we've been able to carry on with that. National Poetry Day is 1st of October. It's actually next Thursday. Wednesday, we always celebrate poetry with poems from our very own pop up poetry club and from elsewhere. So Penny's going to be on the show next Wednesday to tell us more about National Poetry Day. We will then put the links. Sorry, just got to take Josh off again. We will put those links up on our highlights and links page, and we really encourage you all to join in with Penny's Poetry-thon. So, Robin, did you have anything else to report this week? I know, Julie, you wanted to talk a little bit more about National Alzheimer's. Is it World Alzheimer's Month?
Yes.
I mean, nothing specific, but ahead of what talking about the weekend and stuff. Just kind of to let you know that Josh is desperately texting me from the isolation ward, and at the moment he can't even refresh. He could see us but not hear. He could see me but not hear anything. Then he couldn't see anything. So we'll have to a few gremlins to work out on this one.
Well, don't worry.
He's back now. He says he's back.
I know. If you could tell him to just shut up, so we can carry on, dear viewers, and we will bring Josh in and out of the stream on his dear little phone, as we choose, really, because he's not allowed to leave the room, which is the plus side for Robin. The downside is that he's having to wait on him hand and foot, and plus side is he can switch him on and off at any point. But we are moving soon towards telling you a little bit more about our Join In From Home program, and then Josh will be back with us for something for the weekend. But Julie, I don't want to forget about Alzheimer's Month and anything else that Robin had to bring in.
No, I think it's important that we all show our support for World Alzheimer's Month. There was a day a wee while ago, but the whole month for the rest of September is World Alzheimer's Awareness. So it's basically the theme this year is to try and get us talking about Alzheimer's. I think it's particularly important because when you think about the situation in the residential care homes, people are so easily forgotten, aren't they? And they shouldn't be. I think as well, perhaps Alzheimer's is something that's feared. It's obviously not something that's easily welcomed into our lives, but it's at the same time, it's something that people have to live with as best they can as they go through the different stages, if they go through the different stages. And in so doing, demand respect and due care, actually.
And I think what's happened this year has really reminded me, and I hope all of us, that people with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia should be part of our community. It's simply not enough, and it's not possible now to stick them in a home and still make that happen. I've had the privilege in my committee work as a co-chair of Regard, the National LGBTQI plus disabled people's organisation, of sitting on committees with people who have Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia representing themselves. And it really reminds me, as somebody who's also got some cognitive problems, that we need to just include people and find ways of including them. We shouldn't expect people to all behave according to a particular norm and particular abilities, and especially when it comes to things like memory and identity and mood changes. A great many more people with Alzheimer's could be living in the community if we supported them and we supported their families. And it's such a big thing at the moment where you have so many families can't see their loved ones are isolated, and if they'd had more support from their neighbours and friends, maybe those people would still be at home. So
can I just say, I had a close family member who sadly is no longer with us, but he he was at home right up until he left us. And what impressed me throughout was the care that he was given by the family, my family, our family, and the love that he was shown, right up until the end. He struggled to participate socially, but he did his best. And, he was always present, he was always there, and he was so much a part of our lives.
I think though that it's scary because what isn't out there, there's lots of awareness, but at the moment, that's like it used to be with disability awareness. We know it's there, but there's no sense of delivering, of understanding,
Yeah.
of how to help, support you can do. So my parents are 84 and 92, and they're both displaying elements of early onset something or other. Whatever name it gets given. And getting any information about how to support is really, really difficult. I mean, obviously, I live up here in Birmingham, and they live in Surrey, and I do know that actually they have had, or had prior to COVID, some really great support, and they've got was been going to a day centre, which did all kind of games and memory games and things that really, really involved them. But they don't want to go back now because they can't remember what it was like, and they didn't know if they enjoyed it really. And it's it's kind of so the I suppose the implications are that from a COVID perspective, yeah, actually that it's much deeper than just whether people are getting ill. It is very much the societal implications for a whole host of people. But sticking it with sticking with kind of Alzheimer's and dementia, I do think that we have to try to get ourselves educated and know, because the chances are that if you've got aging parents, there will be an element of it there, and the worst thing to do is to be frustrated and annoyed, because that
Absolutely. And I think we need to educate our leaders and our politicians. And sometimes that is just as simple as writing to them and explaining the situation, not even offering solutions. I know I was one of the expert witnesses chosen indeed by the parliamentary committee concerned to give evidence last year to the parliamentary inquiry into LGBT health and social care. And people from our community, for various reasons, which we won't go into now, are much more likely to use social care and much more likely to end up in homes. And there was such a lack of awareness of the kind of social care that we use in our own daily lives, not just from the politicians and the parliamentary. I think it's the Women and Equalities Committee has got politicians from every political kind of group, but also from the organisations who were giving evidence, who also seemed to think there was absolutely no alternative for any kind of social care than going into a home. All of the costs have been looked at, the economic models are failing, and now we have all of the problems with COVID. So I think there's no sort of information about community support if there's a default thing of, oh, let's just provide residential care. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's been a huge campaign for the disabled people's movement for a very long time, Direct Action Network and Free Our People. But there still seems to be an assumption in the media that if you have dementia, there is absolutely no alternative to residential care. And many people know that's not true. But we need so many more home services, supported housing, very small residential units. So, yeah, let's keep remembering that next Monday and Wednesday when we're still in the month. And Robin, before I put on a short film about our clubs programme and joining in from home on a Friday, did you have anything else you wanted to add to this half of the show?
No, I don't think I do actually, unless I've forgotten something I've told you I was going to say.
Well, I've forgotten if you have, but that's one of the points of having a very little short-term memory. So this will tell you more about our clubs programme and how you can join in from home. Together 2012 is running a join in from home programme from our website together2012.org.uk. click on the link at the top of the page, Join In From Home, to go straight to the main page where you have a wide range of accessible, inclusive creative activities, mostly using things that you would already have at home. At the top of the page and throughout the pages, you will also see videos in British Sign Language to translate the site for deaf people. These videos can also be useful if you have difficulties reading and you simply want to hear more of the content. The Join In From Home programme is based on the activities that we would usually be running in East London. So, for example, we have an art club which usually operates on a Tuesday with craft-based activities and on a Friday morning for drawing and painting. Here you can join in with the Arts Club's Hands project and celebrate your uniqueness and membership of the human race. There are full instructions on the linked page here. But essentially, we invite you to draw around your hand on a piece of card. It could be an old cereal packet. Cut the shape out, turn it over, and decorate it with anything you would like to do. It could be paints, crayons, glitter, collage, beads, leaves, anything you can think of. Photograph your hand or hands and send it to us at tv@together2012.org.uk. We'll add it to our video installation and share it on social media. Our music club usually meets on the first Friday of each month. We have an open mic session and we invite everybody to play along with percussion instruments. So here you can learn how to make your own percussion instruments from recycled materials. And you can also join in a percussion workshop from last summer in terms of carnival percussion. So these three instruments are used most often in carnival. We have a shaker and a go-go and a hand drum. So this is how to make a recycled shaker, a recycled go-go, and a recycled hand drum. You can also, if you're technically minded, make your own tactile sound instrument. This does require a few simple electronics, but is a very interesting and exciting project as part of our Vibrafusion ongoing work. You can also listen with Together. We have Spotify playlists created by Robin Surgener, also known as our TV presenter Angry Fish, and we also have 2 classical music playlists from Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, including one that's uniquely suited to people who are feeling very unwell. And I'm just going to get Josh back into the stream now.
Hooray.
And hope to keep you back. Just one more thing to say on the club's programme. As of the week after next, we will be running some clubs on Zoom. We will continue to be supporting our regular participants without digital access on an individual basis, as we have been for the last 6 months. But we're very keen to move forward with digital inclusion. So as part of that project, on a Tuesday from 11 to 12, there will be Make and Natter with the Art Club. On a Friday from 11 to 12, there will be Still Life with the Art Club. 1 month, the second Monday of the month, 11 to 12, there's going to be Photographers and Filmmakers Club, and the 4th Monday will be the return of our Film Dance Club. The poetry group will continue as usual by telephone, and that's on a Wednesday morning. And on the first Thursday of each month, we have Zoom Together, which is our open mic music and poetry. That's coming up next week, so we're going to tell you lots more about that next week. In the meantime, we're at the point where we recommend something for the weekend that you can do without leaving the house. Who wants to start? Let's come to Josh before we lose the signal again.
Josh, wave if you can hear me, Josh, because he can't hear or see you. This is not going perfectly.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to take Josh off the screen again because there's obviously not much point in just being able to see him. I don't mean to be rude, Josh. You've got a lovely face. Um, I think
Okay, well, I'll go first while
yeah, we're
while
going to have to let Josh sort his own technical
yeah.
problems out.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're going one at a time, or do you want my whole list?
Oh, give us the first one, and then I'll come to Julie.
Okay.
No.
Well, the first one actually, I think, is really exciting. We Kuli Koli, which I realise in my text I spelled wrong. There's an extra L. That's probably because anyway. Who I mean, she's been writing for a long time, but was part of my permission to perform program where I encouraged her to use her own voice. And she is going to be on Sunday Live on BBC One. I get this Sunday morning at 10:30 doing her talking about her writing and her poetry, I guess. I mean, I don't know any more details than that, but I mean, that's pretty exciting. I think that we have one of our own on the prime time TV art slot on a Sunday morning.
Absolutely. And I'd like to say to anybody who's either listening to this live or recorded, it's a journey, isn't it? Just because you've maybe never put pen to paper doesn't mean you can't and you won't get. Yeah, it's a journey. And I
It
think
is, and I mean, I would say, I mean, I'm not trying to big up how I did it. It doesn't matter, but she came to the workshop with poetry, and just said, "I can't do it," and just through some processes, lots and lots of positive reinforcement, allowed Cully to recognise that she could do it. The fact that her speech pattern may not be the same as everybody else's is their responsibility to listen as much as it is anybody else's responsibility to speak as clearly as you can. And if you're doing that, then it's a two-way process. So
yeah.
I'm just just hugely proud that I know her. Not that I had anything to do with her, because she's fabulous.
And we'll definitely be doing more to profile Cooley next month, which, as we've said before, is Black History Month. We will be profiling all sorts of Black disabled artists and other disabled artists of colour, including the individual members of our very own associate drama company, Act Up Newham. We've been watching content from Act Up Newham every single week since lockdown started, and I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear more about them. Julie, give us one thing, and then we will just have another go at bringing Josh back onto the stream. He won't be able to hear me until he comes onto the stream unless he's watching the show.
I don't know really what to say. There's quite a lot sort of coming up of things to do. It's that sort of weekend, isn't it? The last weekend in September. But I'm still stuck with the underwater camera and the fishes. I've got quite a lot of screenshots, but I want to make into an art piece. I want to paint and create some work with it. So I think maybe this weekend I'll just be doing that.
So could you just name that again for people who are new to the show? And also, it's not just about what you're doing; it's recommending for other people. So, what else do you think other people might want to do?
I think I don't know. Sort of the wording has thrown me a bit. The site that I go to and the site that I strongly recommend is Coral City Camera, and it's an underwater art science project coming from just off of Miami Harbor. It's a 24-hour camera which has a 360-degree sort of breadth, and it focuses on some coral formations, artificially created but thriving, and the ecosystem that lives around it. So yesterday I watched a pair of squids dancing in the waves, and it was the most glorious thing to see.
Yeah, I think particularly for people like us who've not left the house for 6 months, the webcams and the streaming have taken on a whole new sort of significance. I'm going to pop Josh into the stream, and if we can hear him, then perhaps we can just text him to tell us what he's recommending for the weekend. That would be a good start. Josh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Brilliant. Tell us what
Hooray.
you're recommending for the weekend before we lose you again. Double speed.
So the things I was going to recommend was a couple of weeks ago, Channel 4 did some kind of Paralympic highlights. So that's now on All 4, which is their kind of on-demand streaming service. That's called Superhuman Summer kind of Paralympic highlights. And it's Johnny Vegas, Johnny Peacock, and I think Claire Bowling are the 3 hosts. And they're kind of sitting in a nice socially distanced semicircle in a very posh looking loft somewhere, I think, kind of talking through the different highlights from London and Rio. So I'm going to watch that because I missed that when it was on. And then there's also some Formula One this weekend in Russia, which maybe Valtteri Bottas will win because he seems to be quite good in Russia. So it'd be nice for somebody else to win. Even as much as I like Lewis Hamilton and I'm a supporter of Lewis Hamilton, it would be nice for Paul Valtteri to get an eye in. So that was my 2 main things. And then because I'm going to be kind of stuck in my room, I know this isn't something for other people to do, but feel free to join me. I'm just going to be reading some books. I've got a very nice bookcase with lots of stuff in it. It's mostly things that I've already read, but I love kind of rereading old books and things, and so I'm going to be digging into some reading this weekend because I've got nothing else to do, so I can't go anywhere. So
Well, I think the great thing with book is you can go anywhere, can't you? You can go backwards, forwards, change sex, anything. And reading has massively taken off, which I think is a really good thing. You know, we always need to be able to read. But I was looking at the book sales compared to last year. I have a very small publishing company, which I've had 26 years, and in fact haven't been doing anything with it for a while, although I do still sell back titles through Kindle. But yes, obviously I kind of pick up the publishing news, and it's never been a better time to write a book. So if you're furloughed, isolated, shielding, unemployed, you've got that book you always wanted to write, now is a very good time indeed. Robin, did you have another recommendation for us?
I did. I'll be quick with these. The first one, I kind of almost following on from Julie's ocean-based theme, is it's a link to, it's actually a New Zealand website, but it's talking about the new designs for the yachts for the America's Cup. Now the America's Cup would have been in Boston, I think, this year in March. For all the reasons we know of, that didn't happen. And as I think I'm reading it correctly, it is scheduled to happen in Auckland, which is in New Zealand, and in the spring. But the video, they've got these boats now, and the link, I've described them as flying boats. They kind of worked out how to get with the power of the wind to drive the boats onto what they call hydrofoils, and it lifts the whole hull clear out the water. I mean, and you can clearly see the speed that these boats are going because they've got speed boats kind of running with them, and they're probably doing 40 or 50 miles an hour. Well, I mean, you can't really tell, but I mean, it just looks damn fast and incredibly exciting. So that's there. And I guess I think it's exciting if you like the America's Cup. It's exciting if you like sailing, and it is really that we talk about the theatre of sport, but actually, looking at this excitement and how it's going to grow and stuff. If it bites you, there's a link to something to be interested in for the next 6 months. And then very
Well,
quickly,
I'd just like to say that if, of course, you're coming back to these stunning designs, that they don't call it art and design in school for nothing. You know, these boats are designed by artists, and you're right. I mean, I find it incredibly exciting to watch. You know, it's like it's not the only ones that are hydrofoil, but it's something that only the boat designs in the last 25 years have been able to do. Although racing boats have always planed, where you sort of slightly rise above the water, but the hydrofoils are something different. So
yeah,
yes, you've got all the spectacle of theatre, and you've got the pleasure of looking at the art and design. So finally,
yeah, very, very quickly. Just again, following on actually from your interview with Tim Body earlier in the week, the link I've just put up is from Good Housekeeping Common. It's a simple guide to how to press flowers. And I just thought, you know, again, I mean, I can't guarantee it's something I'm going to do, but it's there, and it's, you know, it's always fascinating. I mean, my grandmother used to do it, and you're forever finding flowers in books. So, um, you know, yeah. So
and I'll just give you an idea from that. For anybody who didn't see the interview with Tim Body, it's on the highlights and links page from Monday's show. His photographs were first shown on the BBC News app, and we were due to work with him quite coincidentally, so we were able to get the interview. But they're anthotype prints. Essentially, what he's done in a nutshell is crushed suitable vegetables, I think in particularly beetroot, strained the juice through a coffee filter to create a clear liquid, painted the paper with that liquid, added a pressed leaf, flower, weed, whatever, and then exposed it to the light around it so that you then end up with a much darker silhouette. And you're right, I was thinking, looking at it, I thought that actually sounds really straightforward. Very difficult to do the whole project, you know, where Tim went out every single day of lockdown. He did 100 days, he did it in his hours prescribed exercise, he researched it all very carefully. I was thinking of just doing one thing. But the other thing that strikes me with the pressed ones is you could do a beautiful kind of two-part picture, couldn't you? Where you've got the shape on the one side and you've got the pressed flower on the other side. I mean, it would need more than one specimen. But yes, if anybody fancies making prints from flowers and vegetables, do look at the Tim Body video. There's also, with that highlights and links to further information from Tim about how to do it, and yeah, the website and things that he followed. So I think, unless anybody else has got
I've just
something
got
else.
one more thing, picking up actually something that Josh has just said, and in fact Robin, and we've been talking about design. I read this week that Lewis Hamilton has set up a commission to with about 12 people from all different aspects of life, but very, very senior policy level, looking at how to open up engineering and technology and science for more Black students to participate in and engage in and to become part of the workforce throughout the industries. I'm so impressed at Lewis for that. I think it's a really amazing thing. And the only reason I was shaking my head at Josh about Bottas is that if Lewis wins, he will be really achieving something quite remarkable, which is coming up with Michael Schumacher's record. So a fantastic weekend ahead.
And for anybody who, like Robin and myself, doesn't like what I would describe as roundy, vroom sports, and that made no sense at all, it's a nice, nice world when we all like and enjoy different things. When you're locked down with other people that like different things, sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. So I'm going to say my goodbyes now. On a Friday, we always finish with a song. And once again, I'm delighted to say it's going to be from our very own Angry Fish. So I will leave him to introduce that in a minute. Coming up on Monday, we have App Date. And at that point, we will be looking looking back and seeing how these first few days of worldly stuff has gone on. We will have all sorts of other things. Does anybody want to add to that? Oh, you can tell it's Friday, can't you? There will be much, much more about our Joining from Home programme. We will be talking film and photography as usual. I hope that we will have an interview with Alan Sutherland, and if that doesn't come up on Monday, it will be the following week. So, in the meantime, that's goodbye from me in London, Julie.
Bye bye. Thanks for joining us.
And
See you next week.
let's have some final words from you in isolation.
Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you all next week.
Well, we'll know where you are, but in truth, as usual, we'll be going very far at all. So have a great weekend. Look at our highlights and links page, and the recording of this show with the captions embedded will be up this evening on our website and YouTube. So bye for now.
So, hi everybody. This isn't the song I'd originally planned, but I think it just brings a focus to the world around us not always being quite how we would want it to be. And it's called Silent Tyranny. You think their plans are innocent. You think conspiracy absurd. How then, my friends, can you explain why disabled voices don't get heard? I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind the physical pain. I can't stand. I can't stand when the fascists put me down again and again and again and again and again. They might not be using guns and bombs, but disableism's alive and kicking, 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 kicking. The institutional discrimination is brutal. Social terrorism. Look at me. What do you see? Do you see a man who's got no guts or destiny? But would that be true if it happened to you? If we don't deny their silent tyranny? They don't shout out. They don't shout loud. They savagely cut at our very existence. They silence our knives with twisted poison blades. Their muted hate will lead to a nemesis, 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 nemesis. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind the physical pain. I can't stand. I can't stand when the bullies put me down again and again and again and again, 'cause I can't stand. I can't stand when the bullies put me down again and again and again and again and again. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend.